Hey guys, as you can see, we're not currently in Orange County. We're actually up in the mountains, up near Big Bear, and we've been putting the finishing touches on the, hiking, paddling 2023 plans. Because as is typical, it looks like we went from having a reasonable amount to do to maybe going slightly excessive. So first off, the thing we're about to leave on is we're going to go paddle the Swanee River out in Florida. You might remember that as the river that I got beard deep in when I was on the Florida Trail as part of the Eastern Continental Trail. And once again, I love the Florida Trail. Can't wait to take Taters back because, this on me is underwater on her. But we're going to go actually float paddle the river. The plan was to do the whole 240 miles starting at Foster State Park up in Georgia and go all the way out into the ocean. We fly in on the 18th. We should be paddling by the 19th. We have all of our camping gear and everything, and we don't fly out till the 31st. Now, unfortunately, it does look like the river is a little lower, so we may only be able to do the top 185 miles or so, but still. This is kind of both a fun, hey, it's something we can do over Christmas and wanted to get back to that area, loved Florida, outdoors, etc. And it is a chance to try out all of our gear ahead of the Mississippi paddle. After that, January through March will basically be around Southern California. Jen and I both volunteer with a Sierra Club wilderness class called Wilderness Travel Course. And we teach a class of 25 some students, and that'll be 10 weeks from January until March, which leads straight into hiking season. So I basically wrap up the class on March 18th, and the next day I am going to drive my Jeep out to Colorado, drop it off for the season, same thing I've done these last couple of years. Once my Jeep is stored at my parents' again, I will fly out to Phoenix, where Jen will drive from Southern California, being awesome as usual, pick me up in Phoenix because she's got to work, so after work she'll drive up, drive me to the southern trailhead of the Arizona Trail, at which point I'll start hiking on the evening of the 18th. She'll probably be with me for the first day. 19th will be the first full day. And then my plan is to do the full 800 miles of the Arizona Trail. Now, Jen will be with me for her spring break. Other than that, it'll be me solo. She'll be with me for about a week. And then after that, we start paddling the Mississippi from basically headwaters down to the sea, source to sea, in early June, around June 5th. So you might notice that's not going to take me from March 18th until June 5th to do just the Arizona Trail. So what am I going to do? I mean, I could go back home and sit around town, but who wants to do that? So the plan I came up with is actually, after I get to the north end of the Arizona Trail, just keep going. There's the Great Western Trail, which is more like roads and things, but I also found something that a guy had put together called the Deseret Hiking Route. I think that's how you pronounce it. It actually connects the Arizona Trail with the Centennial Trail in Idaho. And I figured I don't have time to go all that way because I think it's like 1800 miles to get up to the Centennial Trail, and then that's the whole thing. But I think I can do Utah. So my rough plan right now, March 18th evening, start the Arizona Trail, finish that 20 miles a day, finishes, at the end of April. May we'll be doing the Utah section. It's another one of these routes, kind of similar to the ECT, etc. But it is on a lot of trails and things. That was the thing about the Deseret route. And then my goal will be to try and reach the northern end of Utah in time to come off there, go back to my parents, swap over to the paddle gear, and then we go out to Minnesota. So this Mississippi source to sea trip will be a little different than the other things we've done. It's much longer. We'll be out there for 2.5 months. We'll literally go from the headwaters and hopefully finish up by the ocean near New Orleans, but there's a couple of different finishes. We don't own a canoe. We're going to do via canoe because canoes, it's easier to store gear, some things like that. We actually bought a canoe sight unseen in Boundary Waters. We're going to fly up into Minnesota, drive out to Boundary Waters in a rental car, grab the canoe, take the canoe all the way back to Lake Itasca at the headwaters, drop that off probably with Jen. I go return the rental car, hitch back, and then we go. And we are on the river the entire time, 2.5 months. The goal is to finish before Jen has to go back to school. If we're kind of close, then the plan will be for me to stay there, sell the canoe, because even if we love the canoe, because we got a decent one, because we're going to have to portage, we don't have any place to store it. So sell it, then fly from New Orleans area back to my parents. You've seen a pattern. They're kind of like the base camp for all this. And then they're going to drive me up to Grand Lake. Grand Lake will be the start of the CDT makeup. I will start basically a few hundred miles north of where I ended because I had to skip some things like Grays and Torreys due to weather and being sick. So I figure, why not go back to Grand Lake, do the Rocky Mountain Loop, do the rest of the Red Line like I wanted, like I would have been able to do if I hadn't gotten sick. And that should take me basically into December, I think. I should have plenty of time to finish the remaining third of the Continental Divide Trail, which will clear off the Triple Crown. And so then I would finish sometime early-ish December, late November, go back to Orange County, be back with Jen until Christmas, at which point we do Christmas with our family. And we're actually planning a dive excursion to Socorro. Kind of similar to like what we did with Komodo. We got a deal on something. It'll be a liveaboard, and it's all the like really big animals, manta rays, sharks, things like that. So we think that'll be kind of cool. That'll bring us to the end of 2023 already, at which point, of course, I go back to Wilderness Travel Course for January through March in 2024. And then we're actually thinking of doing something even bigger. I mean, the Triple Crown will be done. There's a lot of other things I want to do, North County Trail, stuff like that. However, I kind of want to do the American Discovery Trail. Having done north-south 3 times hiking across the U.S. and also paddling, I thought it would be kind of cool to, go this way. We're still trying to make sure it's feasible, but so far it looks like it might be. I would basically start right after the class, go out to San Francisco. I would do an eastbound American Discovery Trail, finishing up on the East Coast when I finish. Just have to be done by December, basically, in order to get back for the wilderness class again. And Jen would join me once again for her spring break and for her summer. Looking even beyond that, North County Trail is on the short list. I want to do that. I also want to do the remainder, health, finances allowing, of the National Scenic Trail 11. That includes doing the pain in the ass one, Natchez Trace, which is like a 65-mile trail hike, but it's a National Scenic Trail, but it's like 460 miles total. So there's a lot of road walking in there, but I want to do the entire thing. And then there's a bunch of East Coast trails. And there's a whole bunch of like little shorter ones there, like the Long Trail that I would love to do. And then, of course, whenever finances allow, we have all sorts of international trails I would really, really like to do. Not only have I been eyeing like the International AT, starting at Morocco, doing all those. We've been drooling over the Te Aurora. We have a lot of friends who are out doing that. I'd love to do that end to end. The Bibblebum out in Australia. There's a new Hexatrek or something like that trail out in France. I don't have a problem finding things to do. I have a limit on time and money, as always, ironically, even though I'm not working here. But yeah, we ain't running out of things to do anytime soon. Also, I'm always finding new things that are really, really cool that I had never heard of. So if you know of something that's not on the list, but it's cool, cool being not done that heavily and not super crowded. I don't really want to do like the Camino sort of trails where it's just you're swimming through a pile of people. Let me know. I am always interested. I always love hearing from people. So